That man is playing Galaga. Thought we wouldn't notice, but we did.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Evan. We're coming with another weekly showcase game. This week, we're going to do one of the most popular, biggest franchises to ever grace the arcade. This one's from Namco. It's 1981's Galaga. Galaga's one-in-ones like Pac-Man. If you haven't heard of it, you've been living under a rock because it's everywhere. It's been featured in movies like War Games and Pixels and The Avengers. It's literally been everywhere. It's been ported to just about every home console and computer you can think of. Release, re-release, re-released. It's got so many sequels, and it's actually a sequel itself of their first space shooter game, Galaxian. Now, it started out as a sequel, and then they changed the hardware, and then they said, "Oh, well, it's actually its own thing now." But then later years with like Namco arcade releases and greatest hits and stuff like that, they've since combined them all, and they're like, you know what? It's actually a sequel. And so there's four main. There's Galaxian, Galaga, Galaga 88, and Gaplus. Gaplus was Galaga 3 in the US, Gaplus in Japan. But the Gaplus art was way cooler, and so that's actually the artwork I put on our Gaplus cabinet out on the floor. It was a good game. It came at the wrong time. I personally think Gaplus is my favorite of the four because you get a little more freedom of movement. But it came during the video game crash of '83, so it kind of largely got ignored here in the States. But anyway, we're talking about Galaga today. And Galaga was such a cool game. It's one of those games that people chase high scores even to this day. Um, just like Pac-Man, they didn't really figure anybody would actually get to the end. So you get all the way to stage 255. If you beat it, the game goes to stage 0, and then it just freezes and dies. Um, it was one of the first games that had bonus stages. It was actually a glitch that they discovered in the code, and they're like, well, this is actually kind of cool, so we're going to figure out how to incorporate it. And what they did bonus stages where the enemies can't kill you. They'll just come in different patterns, and it kind of gives you a little breather and way to rack up some more points. So Galaga is extremely simple to play. It's a vertical space shooter. Your ship is at the very bottom. All you can do is move left to right, and you got one fire button. The goal is to avoid enemy fire, take out all the bad guys, the Galaga insectoid alien spacecraft, or bugs, or however you want to look at them. One cool thing about it, and this was one of the first games that ever did something like this, is so the main boss is like the Galaga, the bigger ships that are at the very top, and they take 2 hits instead of 1 to beat. They also come down, and they were inspired by Star Wars, the very first Star Wars movie, when Obi-Wan shut down the tractor beam on the Death Star. And so the Galaga ship has a tractor beam, and he can capture your ship if he gets you in the cone. You can shoot while you're in the cone. If you shoot the Galaga ship, he releases you. If you hit others on the side, of course, your points count until he actually captures you. Once he captures you, he brings you to the top, and your ship turns red. If you shoot the Galaga from underneath your ship while he's at the top, then your ship will now shoot at you, make one pass, and disappear. He will come back for the next level if it's not a bonus stage. And what this does, when the Galaga ship comes back down again at you, your old ship will be behind him. And if you manage to shoot the Galaga and kill him while he's diving at you, then your ship rejoins you, and now you have 2 fighters. So you got double firepower. And of course, that's also double the area that you can be hit in. But it really does help with the game. Another cool little trick that not a lot of people know of, but it works, and I've tried it. It works. It's kind of it'll test your patience, but there is a trick to get the ships to not fire at you at all. Like all they'll do is dive towards you. And in order to do that on the first wave, you got to kill all the insects except for 2 bees that are at the bottom left. You just leave them alone. And they'll shoot at you, they'll dive at you, and if you can dodge them for 15 minutes, they'll stop shooting at you. Then you let them dive another 4 or 5 times, and then you can kill them. And from that point on, none of the enemy spaceships for the rest of your lives on the game will shoot at you. Is it cool? Yeah. Is it an easy way to rack up big score? Yeah. Is it extremely tedious just sitting there for 15 minutes dodging these guys? Yes. So is it worth it? I'll leave that up to you. Anyway, let's go out there. We'll be like that guy. We'll play some Galaga and we'll check it out. All right, guys. So we're going to go find Galaga. It's over with our other Namco Midway Bally games. And there it is. Right next to the pack, this pack. Got our multicade and old Pac-Man cabinet. Our multicade actually has some cool Galaga clones, now that I'm thinking about it. This is a really great board, by the way. So we got Galaga 2000 with updated graphics. Galaga Bin Laden edition, for those of you old enough to remember September 11th, like I do. Galaxian and Galaxian Part 2. Also a Gal Plus. And then Gorf, which had a very Galaga-like level on it. Anyway, that's a cool little setup if you haven't tried it out. All right, Gal Plus. I love the artwork on Gal Plus. And Marquis is awesome. You got more room to move on Gal Plus than you do on Galaga. But here's the classic, the original. Well, part 2 of the original. By far the most popular, even to this day. Let's give it a spin. Very simple, left, right, fire button. You got the instructions if you've never played Galaga. Any game you're unsure of, chances are there's always an instruction card somewhere, and on Gal Plus. So anyway, without further ado, play some Galaga. All right, guys. So like most games, I'm not just a badass on them. I enjoy them, but I'm definitely not a high score guy. What's the Asteroids? I actually got the high score. I've had the high score on Asteroids here for 5 years, as well as Robotron. But, can't be good at everything. Let's give her a shot, though. The music's, the sounds. This game got everything right, in my opinion. There's the bees. If you leave those guys, the bottom left 2, for 15 minutes, you can do the no bullet trick. But that would make for a stupid long video. To be honest, I just don't have the patience. Oh no, almost got me. So you got to watch out for the bullets as well as them colliding with you. You can definitely tell this was heavily inspired by Space Invaders. This is like one of the first Wow. Galaxian was one of the first color space shooters, which they quickly followed up with Galaga here. I like Galaxian, but I much prefer the rapid fire on Galaga. Galaxian, you only had one bullet, and if you shot again, then your first bullet just disappeared. So Galaga was much more high-paced. Kind of sucked on that bonus round. Down here's your lives. You've got 3. Your ships have got 3. See, the high score on this cab so far is 477, 550, which I'm at 14,970. It's a far cry. We got some pretty serious Galaga players in here. Maybe you can beat that score though. Can give it a shot. I walked right into that one. And so now that I have no extra life, I can't do the tractor beam trick. Heck, I can't do any trick because I died. Anyway, guys, Galaga. I always love the hit-miss ratio that they'll show you. 338 shots fired. It's such a cool game. Shows you the points you get for each. Your big guys or your Galagas. There is also another trick. I haven't actually tried it, but here on the track menu, apparently once the Galaga ship tractor beams towards your ship, you can actually take the joystick and move the ship without putting a quarter in. So, I don't know, guys. Have y'all tried it? Does that work? Let me know. I might try it here in a little bit, just out of curiosity. But there's so many conversions of this game. They've had games where versions where they changed the graphics to where, like, one of them was Tekken, so you were like Hihachi. It didn't work. At least not on this version. Some of them does, some of them doesn't. Anyway, you get Tekken players instead of spaceships. I've seen them with Pac-Man graphics and goes, all kind of cool stuff. There's the dual fighter in the demo. But yeah, really cool game. Along with all of our heavily curated, excellent selections here at Waybacks. You're not going to find a nicer, bigger Konami room. 4 players. Really love those. But anyway, guys, come check us out. Give us a shout out, like and follow, all that good stuff. And hang out at Wayback's Arcade.
Then let's blow Galaga to hell. Who's Galaga?